So we're done phase one. Past 4 years, you've been studying, you've been researching, asking questions, observing people, you've been connecting with people. Past 4 years, you've been doing everything you needed to do to give you that good, solid foundation. Hoorah, good. Now we're going on to phase two. All right. So here in phase two, this is like you're like a baby gazelle. All right. You just was born. You're taking your first steps. You wobbling, but you're moving forward. Okay. Here is really where that book smart that you have now meets experience, practical application. Here's the time where it's happening. Now, I want to let you know that by the time you're in phase two, you should have already been doing practice in whatever field you are. If you're trying to be a barber, you should have already been cutting some people's hair who allow you to cut their hair. You want to be an interpreter, you should already be practicing interpreting in front of other people too, whether they're deaf or not. You should already be doing that. But now that we're here, now let's figure out what do we do when we have all this information and now it's time to use it. Let's get into it. So here in phase two, you're likely feeling really confident. You're understanding what's going on as you're observing people. But again, like a baby gazelle, you have no experience. You're wobbling, you're falling, you're doing all this and all that. We all good. A lot of times in this level, you'll start to feel antsy to actually get to the real job, the real work. Makes sense. You've been doing it for 4 years. I would too. So here, when you're observing people, you'll start to notice the mistakes that they do. You'll start to notice, why did you do it like this? Why did you take this approach? Why did you use this tool instead of this tool? You'll be able to start thinking about that and start asking those more in-depth questions because you know more and you're starting to think critically about the job that you're trying to do. Don't come at it as in, oh, I don't know why you did that. That doesn't work. Don't do it like that. Just ask them the questions. Interesting. You decided to use this set of clippers instead of these. I thought these would be good. Why'd you use these? Just try to understand people. Those are questions that are fine for questioning somebody, but still not coming off as a jerk. You don't want to do that because then you'll ruin your whole connection before you really even get your own platform going. But you'll definitely notice people's mistakes. You'll notice how you will start to have your own philosophy, your own mindset, your own thinking on different things. That is because you know enough now where you feel like, some things I don't like to do. I like to do it like this. And that's exactly where you're supposed to be. So if that's what you're thinking in this phase two, you made it. Congrats. If you're not thinking like that, if you're just still taking everything everybody gives you, I don't think you thought critically enough with it. You're still in phase one. Get back to work. Here in this level, you should be taking on real jobs now. Again, this shouldn't be the very first time you're doing this, but now you're starting to say, I can do this where people actually expect good results from you now. If you're an interpreter, maybe you're still interpreting for your friends, but your friends expect more from you. Or maybe you're volunteering at different community events and such where people don't know you, so they expect good things from you. You need that pressure. You can't get ready without the experience. You need the experience and you have to fall. If you haven't taken any 2-step back taxes up until this point, phase two and beyond, that's where it's all filled with those 2-step back taxes. It's all filled with it because in the first phase, you may not have felt like you stumbled back. You're learning. Everything is new. You're observing. You're in that place where you're really safe. But now in phase two, you're no longer that. At this point, you're a learning practitioner. You're doing the job. You know the book smarts of the job. That experience is what gets you to that next level so you can actually become the people that you've been observing. So as you're taking these jobs, often what happens is we overestimate our skill level. We overestimate our readiness. It is what it is. It don't feel good. It don't, but that's part of the growth. It's part of it. There's something called the J curve of learning. You know, I'm not even going to explain. Let me take y'all to school real quick. Let me 1 second. All right. So it's something called the J curve of learning. And what the J curve of learning is, it looks just like this, okay? You start here. Okay, this is where you start. Everybody starts here. This is what you know, where you're starting at, your starting point. This is you. The J curve of learning says that as you embark in a new journey, you will feel like you're losing it. You will go down first. This is your two-step back tax. But as you're doing this, eventually you will come up and create your J. When you come up, this is where now you've gone through the aches and the pain of the actual learning process. And now you're going up. And when you go up, you hit a new level. When you hit that new level, all you do is J curve of learning again. And it goes up, 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 and away. All right. This is how you learn a skill. You will go down. You will go up. You'll hit a plateau, or you'll hit something that you're like, okay, I'm confident in this skill. And then as you embark in a new one, you'll feel like you're going back down again and coming back up. This is the process. Now, some people can do this. Some people go straight from their starting point. And when they learn a new skill, they go straight up. Some people do. But as they're going straight up, as much as this is going up, you could also feel like you're going up and go straight back down to it. You could also do that. So that's why these aren't guaranteed, but they are there. Or maybe the first skill you had a straight line. Next skill you went skyrocket up, so you probably got a straight line going there. And then the third one you messed up and you go back down. Whatever the case is, the J curve of learning. Shout out to Dr. C, who taught me about that, because a lot of times we in this level we feel like, why are we making mistakes? This is where we really get big-headed. Why am I making mistakes? I know this, I've been doing this. Or because this is your first time getting real experience, real feedback, real people you're interacting with, you're learning a lot of things that you like, I didn't even read this in the book. This was never said in the book. This was all my observation. I never seen this. I never went through this. I never thought about this. This is that time where a lot of that real learning, that real experience really happens right here. So in this phase 2, you need to always have a book with you. The book, right? You should need to always have a book. I like a pencil because it's easy to erase, but I mess up a lot. So pens and all the scratch outs mess me up. But have a book and a pencil, have something to write stuff down with. You should already be having a book because you've been taking notes for the past 4 years, right? So you already have a plethora of notes, but you still need to carry your book around, because the book is where all your now experience, all of those aches, those pains, those learning moments, that feedback, all of that you put inside your book. It's about worn off by now. However, this book, I titled this The Book That Shows Your Dedication. That's what this was called. It's just worn out by now. I had about 6 years now. But in this book, I'm talking about, when I was learning to become an interpreter, I had vocabulary. I got vocabulary, all the vocabulary lists. I have meetings with different interpreters that I was with. I had meetings. I've had workshop notes, everything under the sun. Again, a book that proves my dedication. You need to have some kind of things to make yourself accountable. So after 6 years, if this book isn't filled up to the brim, are you really dedicated? Are you really trying your best? Are you really taking notes? Are you really ready to move on to phase 2? All those questions happen because you can see how dedicated you are, or you cannot. So what you need to be doing is getting more experience. You need to be taking on more experience. Don't take on more than you can chew, but you need to be taking on experience. Take some very entry-level, low-level assignments, gigs, jobs, so you can get your foot in the door. Also, another thing you need to be doing while you're in this phase 2 is you need to go out to networking events. This is crucial. Go to networking events and network with other professionals in your field, in your realm. Connect with them on social media, LinkedIn. Connect with them all over where you can and know where they are at. You are a practitioner by this point, so you should be working amongst other professionals too. Connect with them. Now you're trying to make yourself into a professional. You're trying to create your brand here in phase 2. When I was in North Carolina, that's where I started learning interpreting. Then when I decided to move to DC, because DC it's like a huge hub for interpreting the deaf community. I don't know if it's the biggest, but I'm going to say it's definitely top 3. So I came to DC. And when I came, I didn't know anybody. I didn't know one person. All I knew is that there are a whole bunch of deaf people and interpreters in the area. I just got to find them. So every day for about a month, I was scouring Facebook, Instagram, X. I would just look up interpreter, and anything that I seen had interpreter local to me, I was there, going to the different events. And when I went, I represented myself how I wanted people to see me. I came there, I dressed nice, I came there, I was friendly, I was talkative, I was engaging with all of them, and people recognized my face. People recognize, we have another person here who is plugging into the community. There's a new interpreter in town. I didn't have any assignments, but how was I supposed to get assignments if I didn't connect with them? When I went to the networking events, I met all these people that said, hey, I know about this agency. I know about this agency. I know about this program. I know about this. All of that. And I still got my book. I'm writing it all down. I'm taking it all in. For 4 years, I was doing that, going through the motions of trying to create a brand. So back to interpreting. In interpreting, there are different kinds of interpreters. You can have interpreters who only interpret in the school system, educational interpreters. You can have interpreters who only are in the hospital. You can have interpreters who only like doing like shows and music and all that stuff. But in this phase 2, you are way too green. It's still wet. You're way too green to go ahead and just say, I only want to do this facet and go. I don't believe in that. At this point, you need experience. You have nothing special about you to have any specialized training. Go and accept work in your field in general. If it's a low-level entry assignment, take it. It is okay. It's going to help you in the long run. A lot of people will turn down things when they feel it's not in their comfort zone, because for the past 4 years, you've only been studying and focusing on education. You haven't been thinking about these other facets of interpreting, but these other facets will influence your educational interpreter. Boom. That's why you need to have an open mind, an open heart, and go and be open to getting yourself tore down again, that J curve of learning. You got to get tore down so you can go back up. If they cool with you doing it, take that opportunity. Don't just deny it because it's something you don't do. So as you're going through that, realize that you're putting yourself out there. You're making yourself vulnerable. You need to make sure that you avoid being big-headed where you can't take criticism and feedback. That's the most important thing to avoid in this phase. Good feedback and bad feedback. You need to practice that skill of how do you take in information from somebody else, especially when we're doing a skill that's near and dear to us. Someone criticizing our professional work, we still feel like it's a personal attack because of just how closely aligned we are with it. I think that's just nature. That's just natural. You've been learning this for years, right? So I think it just happens where we attach ourselves to the work and feel personally attacked when we get feedback. But you need to be cognizant of that and realize it's not a personal attack. You're only 4 years in. You're getting your first experience. If you don't know how to take feedback, no one's going to want to work with you. No one's going to think about working with you. No one's going to want to have you around because you're not open to it. You're nixed. You're gone. Red line. Blacklisted. You're all that stuff already before you even start.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
You need to have an open mind. My dad always say, chew the meat, spit the bones. All right, that's my dad always tell me. Take in the good stuff and don't worry about the bad stuff. If you get feedback and somebody gives you some feedback and say, I don't think that you dressed appropriately for this assignment. And you know that you're dressed appropriately. If you 100% know that, all you do is just say, okay, ask them, what should I wear? Try to actually understand where the meat is in their feedback. Even if instantly you wanted to deny it, ask them more and try to understand, how can I turn this bone? How can I turn it into meat so I can keep it? You want all the feedback that you can try to get, because all the feedback, whether ill-willed or not, it can help you if you process it in the right way. If you know that you're dressed appropriately, you dress right, but someone gives you feedback that you're not, ask them, what else could you do? How else could you look? Why isn't this appropriate? Ask them that thing, because in that, they're going to say something that works. But if they say nothing that works, then all right, this person just isn't for me. At least you know that now. It's too early for you to burn bridges with something off of feedback. It's too early for you to burn bridges just because you didn't like what someone said to you. Right now, you're trying to get into the field. You don't have anything to stand on to really fight back and say, no, this don't work. I don't believe that. Think about it. Why are they saying this? If you figured out why they're saying this and you don't agree with their why, cool. Wipe your hands clean from it. But you gotta lean into things more, especially things we don't like. Feedback we don't agree with. Well, why don't you agree with it? Let's figure out why, then make a decision. From someone we don't like, real hard. But listen to what they saying. Listen to the message. Don't look at the message and say, who said that? Oh, I don't like you. Forget the message. No, look at the message. What is the point of what they're saying? That's what we need to take in. So this was phase 2 of 5. All right. Here, the learning practitioner. You're getting your foot in the door. You're getting experience. I'm happy for you. You're out there. You're getting your first couple clients. You might have a personal contract that you got. This is all good. Phase 3 is coming up. But you got 4 years in this phase 2. It's 4 years of a lot of learning, a lot of growth, a lot more notes. 4 years. You stick with this. When I see you in phase 3, that's what we gonna know. Are we ready for the big leagues? So that was phase 2. See you for phase 3. Peace out. I don't know how to end this. All right. Well, I'll see y'all for the next one. Hoo-ah.